Good evening, everyone. Today we are going to do a story that we all know about. The subject for today is the test, and the book from the Bible we're going to talk about is Job. In one of Teresa's earlier Bible classes, she spoke of Job. And the book of Job is one of the oldest books in the Bible. It's a beautiful story. Job was a prosperous man. You'll all know the story, so I'll be just briefing you with the story because I want to get on to the main subject. Now, Job was a prosperous man, faithful to God, righteous, and then one day there was a dialogue between God and Satan. And God pointed out Job to Satan and asked, "Have you considered my servant Job, who is righteous?" And Satan goes on to say, "Because God, you have provided him everything, you have given him everything, that is why he is faithful unto you." So God tells Satan, "Okay, you can take away all that he has, but I am sure that Job, my servant, will still be faithful unto me." So then Satan goes off on his task and he takes away all the wealth of Job, his children, his cattle, all are taken away from him. But Job's answer was, chapter 1, verse 21, Job goes on to say, "Naked I come from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." And God said to Satan, "There you see, my servant Job, I told you that you would be faithful." And Satan then said that Job's health is intact. And God gives Satan the go-ahead to test his servant Job. But Satan was not allowed to finish Job's life. So then you see, as you go ahead with the story, you see that Job has a lot of boils in his body, and he's scratching and he's in excessive pain. And in the meanwhile, you have Job's three friends who, when they came and they saw Job's condition initially, they came and they repented for him. And with sackcloth and ashes. But then, later in a series of dialogues, they began to accuse him of his faithfulness to God and as a character. And Job defended himself. And he said that he was righteous. And then Job began to ask God. And he began to defend himself. And he told God that, "God, you have taken away my justice. God, you have not treated me right." Now, you see, we all come to a question at this point of our lives. We see each one of us has the same question, and it's a serious problem. I also have faced the same, but the Lord was merciful to answer my question. I had a friend of mine who is a Mohammedan, he's a Muslim. Now, he wanted his nephew to be religious and get into the form of worship. But his nephew told him that there is such a lot of suffering in the world, there is such a lot of misery in the world. If there is a God, and that I should worship, then why is there such a lot of misery? And so this friend of mine told me, see, I didn't know what to answer him. And so this young boy, this nephew of his, carried on in his way of life. Now, when my friend was relating this problem to me, I also didn't have an answer at that point of time. I didn't know what to tell him. But then, our God is merciful unto us. And God had given me the answer that if you are suffering, that it could be a test. Now, they see the suffering and the misery and they say, "Where is God?" Well, Job had said the same thing. many years earlier, and the same question exists today, that where is God? But he said, don't tell me that the righteous always prosper or the wicked are always punished. Job says, I've got eyes in my head and I can see that the wicked prosper, and it's not necessary that the righteous always prosper. Now let us read unto Job chapter 21, verse 23 to verse 26. One person dies in his prosperity, completely comfortable and secure, the picture of good health, vigorous and fit, and another person dies in poverty, never having tasted the good life. Both are buried in the same dust. Both are eaten by the same maggots. Now, two people, both die. One never had a day's problem and one never had a day's happiness. But who can say who was more righteous than the other? And that's the fact of life. We meet people who never seem to know the meaning of happiness. But we don't say, we don't have the answer, so we don't know what to say. But what we can tell them is about God's love. And God's love is for everyone. And that He would overcome this situation that he is in. Now, you see, in the book of Job, Job is dealing with a suggestion that the wicked, the friends are telling him that the wicked are always punished and the righteous always prosper. And Job says that this is nonsense. It is not true. The righteous does not always prosper. And Job says it the way it is in his life. Now we'll just rush through Job chapter 24, verses 1 to verse 12, where Job, he asks, why are the wicked not punished? Job 24, verse 1 to 12. Why doesn't the Almighty bring the wicked to judgment? Why must the godly wait for Him in vain? Evil people steal land by moving the boundaries of markers. They steal the land by moving boundary markers. They steal livestock and put them in their own pastures. They take the orphan's donkey and demand the widow's ox as a security for loan. The poor are pushed off the path. The needy must hide together for safety. Like wild donkeys in the wilderness, the poor spend all their time looking for food, searching even in the desert for food for their children. And this is the poor. The poor people, they are oppressed. They go out seeking for food. The people who do not get a fair deal from society. We see people like that all the time. Some of us may be one of them. Now, they harvest a field. The poor, they harvest their field. They harvest a field that they do not own. They glean in the vineyards of the wicked. All night they lie naked in the cold without clothing or covering. They are soaked by the mountain showers, and they huddle against the rocks for a want of home. The wicked snatches a widow's child from her breast, taking the baby as a security for loan. The poor must go about naked without any clothing. They harvest food for others while they themselves are starving. They press out olive oil without being allowed to taste it, and they tread in the winepress as they suffer from thirst. The groans of the dying rise from the city, and the wounded cry for help, and God ignores their mourning. See, this is one of the questions that humanity struggles with. I used to have the same issues, but as I said earlier, God answered me, and God answered my prayers, and today I could tell my friend the answer, and the answer was revealed to me in Psalms 73. Psalm 73 verse 2 onwards. You see, it is said, but as for me, I almost lost my footing. my sleep was slipping, my feet were slipping, and I was almost gone, for I envied the proud when I saw them prosper despite their wickedness. They seemed to live such painless lives. Their bodies are so healthy and strong. They don't have troubles like other people. They are not plagued with problems like everyone else. They wear pride. They wear pride like a jewel necklace, and they clothe themselves with cruelty. Now the psalmist is saying out here, the wicked are getting away with it. And how the psalmist nearly lost his faith. But then, when you go down to verse 15, you see it is said out there, if I had really spoken this way to others, I would have been a traitor to your people. So I tried to understand why the wicked prosper. But what a difficult task it is. Then I went into your sanctuary, O God, and I finally understood the destiny of the wicked. The only way this is revealed to you is by God. And now this is how the wicked end. Truly, you put them on a slippery path and send them sliding over the cliff to destruction. In an instant, they are destroyed and completely swept away by terrors. Now, as I see these people who are wicked and prosperous and live out their whole lives flourishing in their wickedness, and you say, doesn't God care? And God says, the moment they step out of time into their eternity, they will be plunged into an everlasting darkness. But it will not happen in this life. Verse 18 I'll read again, where it says, truly you put them on a slippery path and you send them sliding over the cliff to destruction. In an instant they are destroyed, completely swept away by terrors. So my friends, let us not be sad through our struggles, or see and envy the prosperity of the wicked. You could be in your test, and the Lord will not test you more than you can. We all know the end of Job. Now, in the end, you see that God gives Job double of all he possessed. He goes on in his life to see his children's children, his 3 friends. God said of them that they were wrong, that they had accused Job, and that Job was right, and they had to offer sacrifices to the Lord and ask for forgiveness. But through Job, then only God will forgive them, and Job intercedes for them. So you may never know, but you must be on a test. Be faithful. Proverbs 3, verse 5, verse 6 tells us that trust in the Lord all you hear, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths right.